It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is honestly a beautiful Monday in Nashville, given that we're 1 week from Christmas. It's cold, but it should be at this point, so no complaints on our end. Let's get this thing going because obviously we got a lot to get into. And we'll begin with Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. Now, Lori stressed to me earlier today that there appears to be some break for the good in interest rates. And so with that in mind, you might want to talk to her about things that maybe you can do now that you couldn't have done a couple of months ago. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. Let's say hello to Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, joining us on the show. So, Terry, what is first and foremost the health situation on Will Levis?
Well, Mike Vrabel didn't offer up a whole lot, not that you would expect him to, but it sure sounds like that the Titans are right back in the situation that they were 2 months ago with Ryan Tannehill when they first started Will Levis. They've got a starting quarterback with an ankle injury, and they don't know if he's going to be able to go or not on Sunday when they take on the Seattle Seahawks.
Now, I don't want to sound unbelievably callous, but does it really matter? I think we have learned we've gotten enough of a trial balloon of Will Levis to say, good God, he is the least of their problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in this situation, I don't know if Vrabel thinks this way or not. I would guess, being a coach, that he's still got that, go for it, win as many as you can mentality. But truth be known, the long-term health of Will Levis is probably should be at the forefront of this thing. If he's not 100%, if he's, and Vrabel said this as much, and that the important thing is if he's out there, he's got to be able to protect himself and be able to execute. So it's worth keeping an eye on, but you're right. This kid is the least of their problems. He's still got a lot to learn. He's not a polished product by any stretch of the imagination. You saw some throws that were kind of misadvised yesterday, ill-advised, that he tried to make under duress. And you realize that those things, are going to have to be learned and not repeated. But overall, given where this team is and the struggles that it has and the fact that it's not going anywhere postseason-wise now officially, I would think that they certainly don't want to put Will Levis in harm's way.
Terry, I really came away surprised at some of the reactions yesterday about the fact that they've been mathematically eliminated. Hell, they were eliminated in September.
Well, yeah, they haven't been very good since they were 2-2, and people thought that they might be able to sneak their way into some sort of division title or postseason berth. That the first indication of that was up in week 5 when they were, playing the Indianapolis Colts, and Gardner Minshew carved them up, and so did Zach Moss. And, they haven't won a division game. This team's got a lot of catching up to do. The offensive line is atrocious. You saw that yesterday with Derrick Henry rushing for a grand total of 9 yards. And the play calling, I have to call that into question because they kept stubbornly running the ball too much on first down, in my opinion, and they just couldn't get out of their own way. There was a wall that was the Texans' defensive front, and the Titans just could not penetrate it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was not overly impressed yesterday with Tim Kelly's work. Okay, real quickly, it looked like several players went down in the second half. What else do we know?
Well, the only other one that he was asked about was Sean Murphy-Bunting, who left the game with a hip injury. Obviously, he's one of their better corners, and with Christian Fulton already on IR with the hamstring issue, they certainly don't need to lose Sean Murphy-Bunting for any extended period of time. At one time yesterday, the cornerback duo was Eric Garrer and Trey Avery, and the Texans certainly did their best to take advantage of that situation. I think, those guys battled, did the best they could, but there were times that you could see they just didn't hold up very well.
Yeah. I guess we sort of ended here, and we'll talk throughout the week on what's going to be kind of a weird week. A Christmas Eve game at home against Seattle, and then from there, a little celebration of Christmas. Terry, thank you as always.
All right. Thank you, George. Talk to you tomorrow.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. And Lori stressed it to me earlier today. Looks like interest rates are at least about to get better than they have been. And so you might want to consider giving her a holler at 615-969-4350. There may be options open to you that have not been there, let's say, 2 months ago. Now, let's say hello to Kelly Holcomb, who joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, how are you?
Great, George. How you doing?
I'm good. Good weekend?
It was a good weekend. It was a long day yesterday. I woke up at 5-something in the morning, got on the road at 6:15, drove to Troy, 5 hours, waited on my son to get out of practice, didn't get out of practice till about 4:45, and then got back on the road to come here and got here about 10:30 last night. So, yeah.
Whew. Okay.
There
that
you go.
Sounds like fun.
Yes.
Billy, it could have been worse.
Yeah, your Sunday couldn't have been worse than ours.
Oh, wow.
A little chilly out there, wasn't it?
It was a little chilly.
I went into that game pretty excited. Titans had gotten a win on a Monday night in Miami, and you're playing a backup quarterback, you're playing a backup right tackle, you're playing some backup defenders, and they lay an egg. So the excitement quickly evaporated from Nissan Stadium.
From the middle of the second quarter on, they got the hell beat out of them.
I don't know why I was surprised though. Like this team's not very good.
Professional football, man. Up 1 week, down the next.
Yeah.
Do we have an update in our future?
We do. We've got a bowl game going on right now.
Ooh,
Old Dominion.
It's riveting.
All over Western Kentucky, 21-0 in the famous Toastery Bowl. Some of these names are ridiculous.
What exactly makes for a famous toastery? I mean, I've got a toaster at home. It's old, and
it's not famous either.
Well, I don't know if it's famous or not. I mean,
famous Toastery is
it's
looks like
company.
a breakfast, brunch, and lunch place.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Boy, it's really attracted a throng to that stadium in Charlotte. I'm talking about the one where the University of Charlotte plays. There have to be at least a couple of hundred people there.
Not the best crowd.
No.
Some news around college football. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, shockingly, is headed to the draft. He will skip the Tigers bowl game. And they're playing Wisconsin in the ReliaQuest Bowl on New Year's Day. So no Jaden Daniels.
Nussmeier,
it looks like. Yep. So we'll see.
He'll do fine.
I'll be interested to see, is he their guy next year? Are they sticking? I mean, obviously they haven't snagged anybody from the portal. Looks like Nussmeier will be their guy next year.
Played with his daddy in Indianapolis, Douglas.
Wow.
Doug Nussmeier.
Doug Nussmeier, yep.
Kelly, you said you were in Troy. Looks like they've got their new head coach, Notre Dame offensive coordinator, Jared Parker.
I just heard that.
Interesting hire. He was just I think that was the first time for him calling plays last year at Notre Dame, and deal's expected to be announced today. Former interim coach at Purdue a few years back, and he was a former assistant at Penn State, so he's been at some pretty good schools.
Kelly, is there a tie between him and somebody? at Troy?
Not that I know of. Obviously, he was the guy. Not that I know of. I didn't. That guy, the AD. He came on the Zoom call the other night, telling all the parents like what was going on. If you hear anything in the media, don't trust it because I haven't talked to the media. And
Those damn media people never know anything.
Yeah, I don't know, but he kept it quiet. I will say that. I was hoping for another guy, but hey, he got the job. So I didn't even know he was interviewing guys. I knew that he said that they would have a coach by Christmas, so he's got one.
Well, Vandy's got a quarterback too. They landed a 4-star transfer from Utah, Nate Johnson. He started 3 games for Utah last year, 499 yards, 3 touchdowns. He played. It was between him and Bryson Barnes most of the year at Utah. He is a 10-3 100-meter dash guy. So he is lightning quick. He's going to have to throw the football, though. So Vanderbilt's got their guy, and apparently they've got their OC as well, Tim Beck, coming over from New Mexico State, who led that offense led by Diego Pavia this year. So
they laid a big old egg Saturday.
They did, and you got to wonder if the offense was lackadaisical because they might have known their coach was headed elsewhere. You get that a lot with bowls. These coaches leaving, and most of the players know it, and they may not play as well.
Don't talk to the media. Whatever you do, they're bad people.
That bowl season has turned into background noise almost.
Dud fest.
Yeah. Tonight got the Eagles Seahawks. Good Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks need it. Eagles, I want to say need it. Yeah, both teams need it tonight. Jalen Hurts, he was questionable this week, but he's going to play. We'll see if he.
Now wait a minute. Are you certain of that?
I mean, I saw on Twitter today he's supposed to play.
It's another rumor. It's another rumor from Billy.
Oh, don't listen to the media. They're bad people.
Billy's all about the rumor mill, George.
The rumor mill.
So if he were not to play, it would be former Titan Marcus Mariota.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Would be a good chance for Marcus. I'm playing Hurts in my fantasy league tonight. I need him to not play.
So it's all about your fantasy. Wow.
Is there any Titans on your fantasy team, Billy?
Derrick Henry, yeah, he had about 3 points.
Let me say this. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into this with Watson, but I saw some plays, some like slow motion plays of the offensive line just getting blown up almost every carry. And, I mean, right as Derrick had the ball, he's got 2 Texans right in front of his face. So not the best conditions there to run the football. George, that's pretty much all I got in the update today.
So that's your update.
Yeah, we had a kind of a somber note. North Carolina basketball star Eric Montross has passed away at the age of 52 after a battle with cancer. Really tough.
Wow.
He played under Dean Smith in the 90s. Really good player from what I'm reading.
I did not know this. Willie Donick told me earlier today that Eric Montross was on an official visit to Vandy under C.M. Newton when Willie made his visit.
Oh, wow.
Let me also throw in there real quickly. The funeral for former Titan great Frank Wycheck was Saturday. It was a private ceremony. I'm going to say, I don't know, there were 100, maybe 150 of us who were there. Beautiful service, very good tributes to Frank. Just a very, very sad week for a lot of us that knew him. And I don't guess there's really anything else to say. The funeral was at the cathedral, Billy, and I know you're very familiar. That's a beautiful setting.
Yeah.
The service was beautiful, but very, very sad.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure there were some teary-eyed Sunday too. They did a nice tribute to him. So still a lot of people reeling.
Yeah. Okay, after the break, Watson Brown will join us. We'll get into his Titans analysis. I've got a few thoughts as well. I'm sure you're dying to hear those. Stick around.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, those of us who were at Nissan Stadium yesterday witnessed kind of a tale of two different games. The first quarter and a half, man, the Titans looked great, looked very ready to play. From the middle of the second quarter on, they simply got the hell beat out of them. You can call it however you want to call it. And by the way, whatever excitement that the win over Miami garnered, kind of a half-empty upper deck, if the truth be known. A lot of empty seats upstairs. Anyway, with this as a backdrop, we say hello to Watson Brown and get ready for his weekly Titans analysis. Kelly Holcomb will fire in a few shots as well. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. I really am. Other than cold. Wind's blowing up here on the plateau. I'm telling you, it's cold.
I believe that. Yeah, I do believe it. So,
yes.
Watson, we're going to show some film clips of some of the good things that happened early, because there were some good things that happened early. And kind of get you to comment on what you thought they were doing that was giving Houston so much trouble.
George, the only thing that gave Houston trouble at all day was play action pass. They'd hit the play action passes and hit the deep square ends, few crossing routes, one up for grabs and a scramble. But basically, the only thing that was good all day long was the play action pass. The running game is as bad as I've ever seen. Honestly, I just felt sorry for the team. I mean, the one I feel sorry for is Derrick Henry. Of all he's done for this program or this franchise, and then just to go out and have a day like that on a very critical game, knowing that if we lose that one, we're done, no chances of any kind, and for him to go out like that, gracious sakes alive, I don't think I've ever seen anybody that couldn't even hardly get the ball, whether it was thrown to him or handed to him, and just immediately get hit. 9 yards in 20 touches, and it set an NFL record. And that's just not fair to Derrick.
It absolutely isn't. Kelly, the whole thing seems to fall apart on a drive the Texans make very late in the second quarter. And I'll admit, I've been on this kick now for a while, and it kind of started with the 2 block punts against Indy. And it really hit me yesterday. This team doesn't do any adjusting at halftime that's worth a hoot. And, I don't know if that's fair or it's unfair, but I'm starting to believe it's true.
Well, I mean, I've told you this before, George, and Coach will tell you this. I mean, it's not easy calling plays, and I know I'm not trying to make an excuse for that, but they do make adjustments at halftime, but sometimes them adjustments just don't work. Sometimes the defense changes up on you a little bit. They just, what I saw and watching listening to them a little bit, I knew I had to, come on here and talk about it. So I was listening to Mike Keith a little bit, but just listening, there's just no juice right now. You said it, there were sections available in the top. I told you yesterday when we talked, I listened to Herm Edwards on the way down there, and it's just the NFL. I mean, he was talking about, is there any team other than the San Francisco 49ers that you know what you're going to get? They go down to Miami, and every game is about matchups, George. Every game, whether you've got a receiver on a DB that you want to exploit, or your running game you want to use, everything is a matchup deal. And it's amazing that you can go down to a Miami and you can look like you looked, and there at the end of the game, you've got to score twice, 2 touchdowns. They do it. They look really good doing it. Then yesterday, I mean, their only touchdown was an interception return for a touchdown. So I don't know. I just know this, and we've talked about this all the time on this program, but when you cannot block people, you're in for a long year. And when you have 20 carries and you have 9 yards, and the back, King Henry, I mean, the back is the guy. He's been the staple of this offense for a couple of years now, and they're still trying to feed him the football, but it's just not working. It's not his fault. He just can't, if there's nothing there, and if you got white shirts on your side of the line of scrimmage every play, you're not going to be very successful. And they're just whether they make adjustments at halftime or not, George, if you can't block people up front, it really doesn't matter.
So, Watson, let me go a little more specific about where I'm going with it. Will Levis got sacked 7 times yesterday, and all of them were sacks in the pocket. At some point, don't you have to half roll him or roll him and get him out of that?
Yeah, some. But to me, what you do in the NFL is you got to chip out, and they did none of that yesterday. Every once in a while, I'd see a tight end hang a little longer than then go, but they're not doing enough of that, in my opinion. And I just think they stayed with the run too long yesterday. It was doing nothing. What they do a little bit to me when I break it down, and I try to break it down as a coach and be fair about it, when Derek was rolling and they were really good and we were the number one seed and back, what was that, 3 years ago, I guess, they could put 8 in the box and we didn't care. We flat didn't care. We'd still run the ball right at you and gaining 5, 6 at a shot, and nobody could get the ball away from us. And there's still some trying to do that. The Texans mixed it yesterday. They played with soft double safety, some, and then they lined up 8 in the box, just lined them up down in there with a single safety. And we just kept trying to run into that. And I just don't think this team's anywhere close to being able to do that. I think on early downs, they've got to throw the ball when they're in the box. They just got to do it. And I didn't think, when you're playing balls out, as I like to say, and you're playing for the season, just go out and loosen up and play and let it go, because honestly, it doesn't matter. They knew if they lost yesterday, it was over. I would have thought they might have been a whole lot more loose in the second half and just let it go. But they couldn't get the ball off a lot of the times. But a lot of those came to me when on first down we'd run it and gain nothing, or throw a screen and gain nothing or lose 2. Now the next 2 downs we're behind the chains both times, and we're just not capable of that. George, there is one major weakness on this team. I'm not sure any of the 5 are good enough to play. The major weakness on this team, everything else is okay. The offensive line, honestly, is really bad. They can't run block. They can't pass protect. We had people run right over yesterday. Our number 1 draft choice at guard got ran right over 2 or 3 times, just right over him. And I just think there's got to be a major overhaul there. Whatever they do, they've got to come up with 5 linemen that can play, because we've watched this for 2 years now. And honestly, George, Kelly, Billy, the line this year is worse than last, and I didn't think that was possible.
Ooh, that is scary. Kelly, can you in an NFL offseason change 5 offensive linemen?
That's just what I knew you was going to ask me that. I don't think so, George. I mean, I really don't. Like who on the offensive line do you know? Like people can't even name the offensive lineman that they have. You might be able to pick out Skoronski because he was a number 1 pick, but
and that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing that coach is saying it, because he's absolutely right. I just don't know if you can do that in 1 year. And that's a big statement. And you know what? After he said that, I'm starting to think, you know what? He may be right, because he might possibly have the correct answer there that no one ever talks about. We might not have 5. The Titans might not have 1 offensive lineman that could start on another team. And that's big words. I don't know if you can, George. I really don't know if you can do it in free agency, in the draft. You've got to make, and they will this offseason, they'll make a conscientious effort to go after some linemen. But we talked about this before. When I was with the Browns, that's what we always were. We had a really good line when we went to the playoffs that 1 year when I was playing. And then for whatever reason, they decided to just totally implode that whole thing. And we never were the same again. They would always draft defensive line. Well, defensive lineman guys now are a dime a dozen. Offensive lineman, it's not that way. When you get in a good offensive lineman, you have to go get him. You have to use everything in your arsenal to go get that guy. And I don't know if it can be fixed in 1 year, George. I really don't.
Watson, let me ask both of you this. As a front office, whether it was John Robinson or Rand Carthon, have they undervalued the level of this problem?
Well, they have to have, or it wouldn't be as bad as it is, George. I think they thought they were better than they are. And Brewer was a decent player last year as a guard. I think that's his name. He's playing center now. I don't think he's been as good a center as he was guard. But think back just 3 years ago, that was a really, really good offensive line, maybe the best in the league. But they let them all go. And some retired, some they let go. Lawan kept getting hurt. They ended up letting him go. They let Conklin go, if you remember. And he was really good with Cleveland. Now he's hurt this year again. But all those guys pretty much disappeared. And so it's a brand new bunch, and those decisions weren't good. And I honestly look at everything else. It's not bad. The rest of the team's not bad. I'd like to have a secondary guy or two that's a little better, but it's not. They get away with it. And the linebackers, defensive front, still really good. Two of those guys are out, and that shows right now. But hell, everybody's guys are out. I mean, they listed before the game 7 starters didn't play for Houston yesterday, and their quarterback, one of them. So everybody deals with this. But I just think you've got to fix the offensive line before you fix anything else. We've got the quarterback. And if they won't, they can keep Malik. I think he's got another year before he's free agent. They can keep him as a backup. I mean, Ryan's going to be gone. They've got a really solid tailback. I think Derek will want out. How would he not? Just to be brutally honest, he won't say that because he's a class act. But why would you want to stay behind what he's had to run behind this year? I mean, look at his season. Every week he gets whacked. I mean, he gets whacked in the backfield. I'm surprised he hadn't been hurt because he's taken some more shots this year than I've ever seen him take. And I'm talking about line of scrimmage. They ran a sweep into 8 in the box yesterday to the weak side. Now, I don't know if it was a rookie quarterback that just checked wrong. They ran a pitch sweep, and he no more caught the ball and lost 6 yards. There was a free guy. They pitched the ball into a safety that's free, just ran to the backfield and tackled him. And so some of it's that. I just think Mike's deal has been, we're going to run it no matter what you say. If you look at his press conference, I don't know if you're doing this after we finish, but he said during the press conference, well, we've been pretty good here. They know we're going to run it, but we run it anyway. And maybe it won't be good for a while, but we end up breaking one. Well, it just didn't happen yesterday. See, I think he's classy and he's trying to cover it up, but he knows. And but when you say, well, start passing it, well, when you can't pass protect, I mean, you got the same problem. They don't pass protect any better than they run block. Last year, we couldn't pass protect, but we ran block decent, if you remember. This year, they can't do either one.
But Watson,
and
you were telling
we got
me
a quarterback left.
But Watson,
it's a wonder we got a quarterback left, George.
You're telling me though. Now, remember, I'm going to play novice fan here as opposed to somebody in the coaching community. And I made the comment earlier that I don't think they do a very good job in halftime adjustment. And you immediately flip to they don't chip to help themselves while Will Levis is getting the crap kicked out of him. I mean, how can you be that stupid?
You got to go to that. That's all you got. Move the pocket. Throw some of your nakeds or a little sprint out on early downs. You can't do that on later when you get behind the chains. Because if you try to sprint out behind the chains, you're throwing into one side. You don't have a chance when they're overloaded one way. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to throw sprint outs and passing downs unless you're catching a man coverage team or something. And they're a zone team. They're a zone first team. The offense, George, I agree with you. And I thought they tried to run too much. But I think the problem, I kind of agree with Kelly. I'm going to take up for Coach Kelly and talking a little bit, agree with Kelly, what he said here. I don't know that it was just play calling. It's hard. You're dead right. Chipping is something I would have done, and I would have just snuck those guys out as check downs after I chip and tried to hit some of those deep squares or skinny posts or seams or whatever you got to try to do. But when you're sitting there watching your guy just go down and hit again, and he's your franchise. And when he's getting hit that much, what's it doing for his thought process, even for years to come? That's hard on a freshman, a rookie, a freshman to me because I was a college guy, but a rookie in the NFL. That's hard now. And I want to give a lot of credit to the Texans, man. That is a well-coached football team. I'm not going to take shots at the Titans, but I'm going to give the Texans the defensive thought processes in that game and how they adjusted and what they end up doing and how they kept changing up coverage but playing mostly and bringing blitzes. See, the Dolphins never brought anybody. And so it was an easy game. It was an easy game. But this bunch would bring 5, every once in a while 6, then bring 4. They never brought 3, not once. They kept bringing 4, 5, or 6. And I think they knew the weakness of this team is the offensive line, and we got to exploit it.
Okay, Kelly, Watson's brought a lot to the table. Take it wherever you want to go, and then I'm going to ask both of you something here.
Well, I like the chipping aspect is what he's talking about. But you know, there's been games, and I only did it in high school. Coach did it at a larger level than I did when he went to college and did all that. You get in games, George, where you're up there calling plays, and you're sitting here looking at your play sheet, and you're like, well, I can't call that. I can't protect that. I can't. There's just sometimes, and it doesn't happen a bunch, but it does happen. And I can remember feeling so helpless calling plays sometimes when you just can't block them guys up front. And we can leave a tight end in all we want to, and we can chip the backs on the edge, and we can do that, or we can keep a back in. But when you're getting whipped inside like they were getting whipped inside, George, there's really nothing you can do. And sometimes it's so frustrating. You just want to throw your hands up, and the head coach is probably screaming at you on the headphones. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can't. There's nothing else we can call. We can't run block. We can't block them. We're trying to chip. We're leaving the tight end, slow releasing the tight end. There just comes in games like that where it's just so frustrating, and there's nothing you can do. And I'm with Coach, man. You watch the Texans. D'Amico Ryans was that guy that got that defense going in San Francisco, and now he's doing it again in Houston, and he's got some dudes. And they're pretty good, and they're going to keep being pretty good because he's a pretty good coach, and it looks like they are. They've got some guys that know what they're doing on the coaching level, and they're putting their guys in the best position to win.
Kelly, I'll start.
George, let me add that before you go to your last question. Chipping, what you do to chipping, because I used to do that. I'd either chip or I had a turn back protection when everybody was turning it to his own. Nobody was blocking a man. And it was 8 people had to block, so you only had 3 out. But when you start chipping, all they got to do is start bringing an extra guy, and that chip's done. Because when that back has to block somebody, he can't chip. Or when they bring 6 and that tight end has to block that 6th one, it's a different world. So there are answers for chips. All I know is I was outnumbered, many, many times in my career. And the worst thing ever, I could handle about anything other than a defensive line that was a whole lot better than my offensive line. That's the hardest thing to handle on either side of the ball, George. It's the hardest thing to handle on offense. Anything else on offense is doable, but when they're really good up there and just flat whipping you, there ain't much to do, man. But you can. I think they brought more so they couldn't chip. Especially in critical downs yesterday. D'Amico would bring 5, sometimes 6, and he knew then they were right back to one-on-ones again.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly, let me start it this way. Yesterday, you come out of that game saying, okay, let's be real about this. The Miami victory, it's a great one. It's completely inexplicable. And I walked out of there saying, look, it's a moment in the sun. Enjoy it, but it isn't what this is all about. It's a false positive, and that's all it is. The real deal we saw graphically yesterday. So Rand Carthon is sitting up in some booth watching this crap. Didn't he have to walk out of there last night going, unless I am able to free agency patch an offensive line together, my first draft pick has no choice but to be offensive line?
Well, absolutely. I think so. I mean, they took every pick this year on the offensive side of the ball. But they still didn't fix their biggest need, and that's offensive line. They have got to do something with that. They've got to get some guys in free agency. They got to pull the pocketbook out. Whatever they can spend, they got to go get them, because I'm kind of like Coach. Like, they're not great, but they're not bad at other spots. I'd like to see them get another receiver. I'd like to see them get a receiver that can spread the field, that can lengthen the field, that can get behind people. I don't think they have that right now. But all the other pieces, they're not bad, but offensive line, like it starts up front on both sides of the ball. I think their defensive line's pretty good. I mean, they were sacking the quarterback. They were getting pressure yesterday. I've said that all year. I think they're not bad there. And then when they get down in the red zone, I think they might be the top team and not letting people get in the end zone. But yesterday, when you don't let anybody in the end zone, I think they had one touchdown scored against them. But when they're down there so many times and they're having to kick field goals, well, now your offense has got to pick it up and they got to score some, and they're not able to do that. If you're Rand Carthon, yeah, you've got to go out. I think you've got to spend the first pick on a draft on a offensive lineman. I think you got to go out and you got to get a couple in free agency. But can they? I just don't know if you can fix every position on the offensive line. Now, I'm sure they see it differently than I do and differently than the coach does. Like, I'm sure they think they got some dudes up there if they can just fill a couple of spots. I don't know. But with what they're working with now, just not going to win many games.
Okay, Kelly, let me take that last comment. You kind of said they probably see it differently. How could you?
Well,
I mean, yesterday was graphic.
I agree, George, but coaches are a different breed sometimes, and coaches can tell you that. And some of these egos get into it, and they're like, well, if he goes out and gets and maybe he thinks it's an O-line coach, or maybe he thinks it's all – I don't know. He's got to fix it some way, but – there's a lot of coaches that say, well, he didn't coach him right. I can fix that. I can fix this. Or, maybe it's this or that. But yesterday they kind of got – after the first quarter, it seemed like they kind of got bullied.
Whew,
and I think you saw that too. It looked like they got bullied on both sides. And I just I don't know, man. Coaches are a different breed, and sometimes they get in their head. They're very stubborn. I'm a stubborn guy. When they get something in their head, they're not going to go off that fact. And I don't think they've got anything on the offensive line. I think they got to go get some. I don't know if they got to get 5. I know they probably got to get 4 because you got to give Skoronski a little bit more time.
Right.
But I don't know if you can fix that in 1 year.
Okay, Watson, in this, take it wherever you want to go.
Although I think they got 2. I think they like Petit Frere, the kid from Ohio State, who hadn't played all year long. And I think they believe in him, and I think they'll believe in the guard. I'm not sure what they think of the center because he hadn't been bad all year, but he sure had his moments. So I'm thinking they're thinking 2, maybe 3 guys. They've got to find a left tackle, period. That's got to be the first pick in the draft, in my opinion. And they may think they can trade for some. I don't know. Maybe they think they can trade a defensive lineman for an offensive lineman or whatever in time. We'll see. But I don't see a playmaker at receiver, a playmaker in the secondary, and honestly, everything else isn't awful. But I will say this. They are 4th in their division. And then right now, it's a pretty distant 4th. I know the games are close. But they haven't won a division game, not one.
No.
And they got 2 to go, and I don't think they'll win either one of those 2. So I just think they got a long way to go. But if they don't fix that first, George, and what is Hopkins? Is he a free agent again now, or did we sign him for 2 years? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I thought it was for 2.
It's for 2.
Okay, I hope so. Huh?
Yeah, it's 2.
Great, because they cannot afford to lose him. They cannot afford to lose him. I think the tight ends have been solid. We're very good in the backfield. We're going to lose one, but Spears is a really good player and going to be a good player. That was a great pick in the 3rd round. They did good there. And so I just don't think we're as far away, but yet we're 4th in our division. And it flat starts. And this T.R. Tart thing, how ugly was that? Well, I mean, and I can't blame Mike Vrabel for that. If he's pouting around, Kelly will tell you now, you get a rotten apple in the locker room, that rotten apple can make some others rotten. And you got to get it gone. You got to get it out of there. And if that's what that kid's doing, more power to him. I'd have probably got rid of him before they did.
Okay, Watson, thank you. Kelly, thank you as well. And after the break, we will hear from Coach Mike Vrabel, his assessment of what went down. Stick around. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Before we hear from Mike Vrabel, let me run a couple of things by everybody. Let me make clear, I thought their effort yesterday was terrific. I don't think in the Mike Vrabel era that very often we have had to question effort. So that, for me, is just not even needing to be discussed. Now, what I think does need to be discussed is the level of coaching on his staff. I think we saw complete incompetence a couple of weeks ago in the Indy loss with the back-to-back punt blocks. It doesn't seem like a Vrabel to rush to fire during that deal. And so my gut feeling is someone either forced him or strongly suggested that he make that move. As for Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, he is an upgrade over Todd Downing. That's not necessarily a big positive. Downing, I thought, was way overmatched. And what I see of this guy early doesn't have me running around going, man, he's the second coming of Steve Spurrier. And yesterday, the crowd let him have it on 2 or 3 different occasions. And I'll be honest, I thought rightfully so. How many times are you going to stick your quarterback in 2nd and 12 because you're not willing to deviate from just the old rugby scrum? And that's what I thought got them in a lot of trouble yesterday. Those are my thoughts. Here's Mike Vrabel.
Looking back, I mean, we'll watch the tape and we'll be able to see, but, maybe some missed tackles and, misfits or just, probably usually missed tackles. And, we'll have to do a better job there. But, I feel like we, were able to get, some really great stops throughout the day. Don't want to give up those type of rushing yards, but, I give those guys a lot of credit defensively for us that, we did a good job on 3rd down. Got a huge stop there at the end of half. So we'll have to fix and assess the run game, but also, recognize that, we did some really good things defensively as well.
Why, when Derek was having such a difficult time, did you guys continue to feed him the ball when he's averaging under a yard?
Well, I mean, we have to be able to establish a run, whether that's with Derek, whether that's Tajay, whether that's Jonathan Ward. And, so, I mean, we've won a lot of football games, with that formula. And we've seen where it's been, some inefficient runs, and then, we break one and turn things around. And, that didn't happen today. And,
how much did that have an effect on the pass protection too? Because it seemed like it left you in a lot of 2nd and long, 3rd and long type situations. Gave up 7 sacks.
Yeah, there you go. You asked and answered a question, pretty well. So that's certainly we have to be balanced and be able to use the run game to create opportunities and play pass, which, we've done before and we'll continue to strive to do, and not just force ourselves into, difficult down and distances.
The lack of success running on 1st down, why continue to do that when it wasn't really working for you?
Yeah, again, just trying to get off in a drive. And, there were times where we threw the ball on 1st down and had success. There were times where we threw it on 1st down and didn't have success. And, it's all, offensively, there wasn't a lot of, we need more positive plays, more conversions, more complementary football.
Do you think that 1st down running is like it was predictable? It seemed like it was today.
I think that when they're, when we don't play well or we don't block or protect, I think that's forces negative plays, a non-efficient play. So, whether they, whether we call a run or a pass, we're still going to have to block and execute.
How's Levison? What did you see on that last sack?
So the same thing you said, so we'll see how he, comes out. I'm sure I have to get looked at and, see where things go. Again, when you talk about pass protection and you talk about sacks or pressure, it's, starts with getting into the route quick and getting open quick and protecting longer. All those things have to happen, and we have to do a better job of it.
Could he have gone back in if you guys needed him to today?
I didn't really approach that. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Talk about all this inefficiency on offense. Were you able to get a read why the rushing game was so inefficient today?
No, I just think that, we know how critical it is to get these runs started, give them credit, being able to, split us on some of the combinations or, not be able to get there on a second level. I think every time you just probably go back and look at it, it's going to be one guy here or a block there, a cut, and it was just not a very good day for us.
The interception, did Will maybe not see Burks running deep on that? Or
You got to have an opportunity to talk to Will, and he'll tell you exactly what he saw or didn't see.
What'd you see?
Same thing you saw. That threw a ball to a guy that was covered.
Coach, with you guys being eliminated from the playoffs officially at this point, how do you go about the rest of the season, the message to the team?
I don't think we're ready to discuss that, Kayla. I think we're just trying to get back, get healthy. And a lot of guys play, far less than 100%, which we know that's going to happen this type of where we're at in the season. A lot of fight, a lot of the competitiveness, rely on our leaders, and make sure that we do everything we can to give them an opportunity to feel confident coming into the game and play with great effort.
Kelly, let me bring you back in. This whole talk about, what do you do now that you're officially out of the pennant race is complete poppycock. This team has known from about week 5, and when they got their ass handed to them in Cleveland, Ellen Keller could figure out this thing was over. This was not a playoff team. All this, what do we do now, is a bunch of bull.
Yeah, they hadn't been very good. As a team that you're probably not very good. I can remember being on a team like that when I was in Indianapolis, and Lindy and Fonnie was the coach. And I can remember every week he would call in, and we were we started the season 0-10. And it's really funny because the first game that we won was in the RCA Dome. And do you know who we played? It was the Brett Favre Green Bay Packers that had won the Super Bowl the year before. We were 0-10 going into that game. They actually went back to the Super Bowl. It's when they got beat by Denver. But we went back to the they went back to the Super Bowl. We were 0-10 going into that game, and we beat those guys for our first win of the season. So it's tough for a coach, George. It really is. And when you're not very good, you have got to motivate guys. You would think that money would be enough motivating factor, but it is not sometimes. And you got to get guys to go out there to practice, to give their all. And that's one good thing. You just said it. That's one good thing that Mike Vrabel's always been able to do. They've always
played hard,
come to the plate. Yeah, they've always played hard. They've always come to the plate, thinking they're going to hit a home run. They've always given effort. I'm sure they do that in practice, because what you see on the field on Sundays, you get during the week. So, but as a player, well, we might not be that good, and everything kind of hinges on the offensive line. And then once the season starts, you start out 2-2, and then you're like, well, we might have a chance. But then you go on this losing streak, and you're like, yeah, this is kind of how I was wondering how it was going to go. Yeah.
This has been graphic for a long time. So this whole, you're officially out, whoop-de-doo.
The guys get that. Guys get that. They totally understand that, George. Players are the ones that always know first.
Yes. We'll go to the break. We'll get stat of the day, which will probably bomb, and then we'll talk some college football. Ooh, there's a riveting bowl game going on at this moment. Sections are available.
Stadium.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust.
and I would recommend you to anyone.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. It has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Monday. Talking a little college football coming up, but first, stat of the day. Brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew's got cooked up today. We're going NFL. Raheem Mostert scored 2 touchdowns on Sunday to break the Dolphins' franchise record for touchdowns in a season with 20. What player's record did he break?
Okay, Kelly, to go back deep into the Don Shula era,
Yes.
you could go Jim Kick, Mercury Morris, Larry Zonka. Help me, Ricky Williams is another one.
I would think Zonka. I would think Larry Zonka. I would either think him. Yeah, who were the two receivers? The other two receivers that were really good.
Duper and Mark Clayton.
Yeah, Mark Clayton and yeah, that's right. Duper or Clayton. I would think Larry Zonka.
We're going Larry Zonka. Oh,
Mark Clayton. Gosh.
Oh,
Clayton.
man.
It was Clayton.
These last few y'all have mentioned the
Yeah, do we? I
answer,
mean,
but
do we get like honorable mention for that?
Honorable mention?
No.
Well, it's not for
Get you, Billy. You little punk.
You either get it right or you don't.
Whatever,
you
Billy.
Sit up here and try that.
That's not
You
my
think
role.
this
Go
is
play.
You
Hey,
think this
why don't
is
you go
easy?
play?
I don't get
Billy,
paid
why
to
don't
do
you go
that.
play in traffic for about 5 minutes? How about that?
Off that comment, I'm with Kelly. And if a car steps out in front, if a car comes, step out in front.
I mean, seriously.
That
You
was
little punk.
really uncalled for, what he said. That's a verbal tongue lashing.
Unbelievable, Billy.
Okay.
Unprofessional.
Do we go now to college football and the official start of the 3 o'clock hour?
Yes, we do.
Okay. As all of you know, Capital One Bowl Month is alive and well.
It used to be bowl week, but now it's bowl month.
Oh, it's bowl month. Did you see that Cure Bowl Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, first
Out
of all,
on that.
I have no idea what it is they're curing because during the telecast, they never said, here's what we're curing. I don't know if it's COVID, cancer, diphtheria, lupus. I don't know.
They're not curing football.
Well, they
I
certainly
don't know.
weren't doing anything about the rain. My
Yeah,
God.
I'm going to tell
rain.
y'all this. I played one rain game just like that where water was standing in the field in the World League of American Football in London. We were playing the London Monarchs. I was with the Barcelona Dragons, and William, the Refrigerator Perry, was the nose guard.
Oh, my
He came
God.
over there. Yeah, he came over there. He was big. and I couldn't get a snap. And that was the worst game I think I've ever been involved in, because everybody says, well, Tim Corbin's he's the genius of saying, because I remember my son going to a camp there and he says, you cannot let weather affect you. Well, guess what? The weather does affect you. And
Sure
it
it
affects
does.
me when it starts raining, it affects me. So anybody that wants to say that, go try to throw a football and hold on to a football when it's pouring down rain. Good luck.
So they had a play in the game where you see players slipping on the emblem midfield, and then the official comes flying in to spot it, and he just goes
And
falls. And anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. I had thought that Boise would beat UCLA. I cannot figure UCLA out. When they're good, they were good enough to toast USC. When they're bad, they got absolutely boat raced by Cal, which really wasn't all that impressive in the Independence Bowl against Texas Tech. They're down 16-7 at the half. Boise looks like they're dominating. UCLA gets their starting quarterback hurt, and they bring in the kid Garbers, whose brother had been the quarterback at Cal, and this kid looked like Joe Namath. And I was like, where's this been?
Started earlier in the year, though, didn't he? And didn't he get hurt? And then the other kid came in. And I'm going to say this, George, if the other kid plays, Boise probably does win that game. But Garbers comes in, and he was on point. He was ready to roll. And the fans were ready. They wanted him to play. And he came in and played really, really well, George.
Yeah. So, Kelly, I would claim that until you get down to the big games, that it is harder to figure out who gives a damn than it has ever been.
No question. There's no question, because back in the day, there were only those, was it the 6 bowls that when we were growing up, there was, you had the sugar, you had the orange, you had the Rose Bowl, you had just a tiny handful of bowls, and now everybody's got a bowl. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them guys don't even want to go to the bowl. And now all these guys that are going to the NFL draft, if they're not playing for anything, if they're not in the top 4 right now, they're not going to play. I mean, I felt so sorry a couple of years ago for Kyle Trask, because Kyle Trask worked his way up, became a really good player for the Florida Gators, and then the Kyle Pitts kid, the Kadarius Toney kid, all those guys just said, "Hey, we're opting out of the bowl game." You knew Kyle Trask was going to play. I would play too, but he had nobody outside, and I don't know. As a coach, it's just another one of those things where, why are these guys coaching nowadays? I'm sure those guys at UCLA, they've probably been pissed all year that their NIL money wasn't very good, and they decided to play in the bowl game. So I don't know. It's the world of collegiate football right now is crazy.
And
I told y'all the other day about kids coming on campus and how much money they're getting. It's wild, and it's only going to get worse. I just don't see where this is going, but. John McClain said they keep talking about that, but it's the biggest and best game in the country right now.
So, Kelly, here's the other thing that I see a lot now. Okay, and your son is going to experience this weekend.
Yep.
So,
very much.
His coach during the year has left.
Yep.
And a new guy got hired apparently today off the staff of Notre Dame.
Yep.
So what ends up happening is that you have a group of assistants who have no idea what the hell their future is, and they don't feel very comfortable about it. And the new guy sits up there in the press box playing God, I would have done this and I would have done that. And Kelly, and what ends up happening, the coaches who are leading these kids through the bowl game are spending more time texting and on the phone looking for jobs. It's a total mess.
It's a crap show. It's unbelievable. I just, my son texted me. I was at lunch with some guys, and he texted me, and he said, we just hired a new coach, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame. And this dude came out of nowhere. Of course, I told you that Brent Jones was being really He was being secretive about what was going on, which is a cool thing. I'm not against that. He's trying to find out, who fits their program and who the best fit is for their program. But I don't know how you go through this, George. Like you're just going to a bowl game. I know the kids are going to get money. They're going to get a lot of sponsorship gifts and stuff like that, which is cool. But I know a lot of them don't want to play football right now. They've already won the Sun Belt Conference championship. Well, like, what else is in it for me? I mean, there's a couple of guys that are going to be, that are going to. One of them got invited to the Senior Bowl in Mobile. There's another kid that's probably going to get drafted as well. Like, what do you do? Like, you could probably opt out too. I don't know. And you're right. With these coaches, their lives, their families' lives are up in the air right now. They have no clue what they're doing, and they're trying to coach some kids that more than likely they're not going to be there next year. So how do you do that? The world of college football and the world of college sports right now, it's like the NFL started it and now it's trickled down and now it's full-fledged. Like my son told me the other day, Billy, like he told me the other day, like they're already cutting kids for next year, Dad. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Like when I was in college, we were there for 4 years and we enjoyed being around each other. But now you're telling a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid that you're just not good enough here. We don't want you anymore. Like that's not what the collegiate experience is about. They're in classes. They're trying to make the grades. And now you're telling them that they're no longer wanted there anymore. So it's getting like the NFL free agency. And I just don't agree with that, man. Like you're tearing a kid down where you're telling a kid who's 18 years old, who might not be mature right now, and you're telling him you're not wanted anymore. You're not good enough. And like, what is that going to do to his confidence later down the road? I don't like it. It's awful, and I just don't like where it's heading.
Well, you mentioned the crapshoot, and for certain staffs, like I want to give you the example of Troy and Tulane. Troy's head coach, Summerall, is headed to Tulane. Tulane's head coach is headed to Houston.
Yeah.
So you've got coaches on that Troy staff trying to get certain kids over with them to Tulane, and at Tulane you've got that staff that was at Tulane trying to get kids to leave to follow him to Houston. So, and they're in the building at the same time.
Well, now, hold on, Billy. There is one distinction. The ones at Tulane that are going with Willie Fitz have already gone.
Well, yeah, but like that period, I'm talking about that period, and you're probably right. But like that couple week period, it was probably a week or two ago that happened. You had coaches from Tulane in the building. You also had coaches from that Troy staff up there already in Tulane, in the same building, fighting for those players. So that's what you get into in certain situations where the Tulane coach is leaving, Troy coach coming in, his staff. I mean, I would have guessed they've got offices already in there. Both the Tulane coach is still there trying to get his players over. It's a mess.
And on his door is the logo of the school that at the moment employs him. And then a sticker of the school that he's headed to, about 2 hours after the bowl game.
Right.
So you've got right now, and it's a sad deal. ESPN basically puts on these early bowls as programming. That's all it is. It's just simply programming that they wouldn't have. And in a lot of cases, it's teams that marginally belong in bowls. But about the time you put a blanket statement out there and say, well, these bowls are crap, then you have a team win a game in a big upset, and that becomes a memory for life that you don't want to take away from them. I don't know what the answer is anymore, Kelly.
I don't either, George. I really don't. I just like this NIL transfer portal stuff, the bowl situation. Like I can remember, like I said, going back to when we were young, you always remembered, you always remember the University of Miami and Nebraska and the Orange Bowl. You remember, and you couldn't wait for those games on New Year's Day. And those guys really, I mean, you long for that, and now it's like there's so many bowl games. Like, can we get over with this and then get to January 1st? I mean, good gracious! And the Birmingham Bowl, like the Birmingham Bowl is a really good bowl, but like it's in Birmingham, like they're 2 hours away. Like, who wants to go to the Birmingham Bowl? I get that, but it is a good bowl. You are playing a Power 5 team, your Sun Belt and a Power 5 team, which is Duke. But Duke's going through the same situation that Troy's going through. That the Elko guy went to Texas A&M to be their head coach. So like, and I'm sure they've got guys opting out. Their quarterback's already said, he's already into the transfer, and he said, "I'm going to Notre Dame." So, like, it's the wild world of sports, and I'm just not a fan.
So, Kelly, let me tell you how this worked out. So, Riley Leonard ran into the Notre Dame assistant who took the Troy job and said to him, "Hey, I'd love to have worked with you. Yeah, I'd love to have worked with you. Have a nice life."
That's exactly what happened. They passed each other in the hall and said, "Oh, you're going to Troy? Okay, hey, good to see you, man. New quarterback."
2 ships passing in the night. After the break, we'll have studs and duds. I know all of you breathlessly await. I've got some good ones. Stick around.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
So, Kelly, I put together 4 studs and 4 duds. Want to hear them?
The Detroit Lions are one of them.
The first pick in studs is the Detroit Lions.
There you go.
This funeral that everybody had been plotting out for them a little early. They kicked Denver's butt Saturday.
They sure did, and Denver's been playing well.
Yeah, go figure. So the Lions are a stud. Who else?
Who else? Let me think. The Buffalo Bills.
You know, they should have been there. I put their cousin, the Dallas Cowboys, in the dud list.
Oh, the dud. Okay.
You can do stud or dud in that. So technically, you were right. I put UCLA in the studs.
Okay. All right.
By the way, if you go outside right now and you hear a little bit of a roar, they just scored again. Yeah. Just thought I'd share that. So, third one that you're probably not going to get, but it's really a pretty remarkable story. Does that give you any hint?
Is it football?
Yes.
Still football?
Uh-huh.
It's a remarkable story.
Yeah.
In the state of Alabama.
State of Alabama. I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State. That's right. Okay.
Is this their first year of 1A?
It is, absolutely. FBS, yeah.
Division 1. And they go to, what is it we call FBS?
FBS.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can take away the F. Whoever came up with FBS?
It's the Football Bowl Series, man, not the Football Championship Series. It's 1A,
Division
1AA. That's correct.
1A and 1AA.
Whatever. Okay, so this is their first year at Division 1. They end up in a bowl game, and they end up winning the bowl game.
They did
beat
really
UL
well.
Lafayette essentially on a home field in New Orleans. When I say UL Lafayette, it's now Louisiana.
Lafayette.
I always
Louisiana.
thought Louisiana was LSU.
I don't know who they're trying to flex on in that.
I'm not sure. I know
Lafayette, baby. The
Maybe
Raging Cajuns.
Monroe?
Here's the fourth one. Oh, poor old UL Monroe. What a sad sack. Baker Mayfield. Anybody look at his numbers yesterday?
I did not.
He's balling out.
Kelly, what's happened? He's revived his career, and I would assume Tampa is dying to have him back.
He's got my man Tom Moore down there telling him to 1, 2, 3, throw it in the stands, Baker. You can't see over the line of scrimmage, son. If you have to move your feet a little bit, just move your feet. But don't take all day, son. You got to make a decision and throw it away.
Thank you. That was well said. Now let's get to the dust.
Did you learn anything else other than throwing it away from Tom Moore?
Oh, I learned a lot of football from that old dude, man. He was under Chuck Noll a long time ago when they won those 4 Super Bowls back in the 70s, and he's very knowledgeable about football. That's why he's been in the NFL for 50 years.
50 years.
Okay, so we gave away one of the 4 duds, Dallas Cowboys. Give me some other duds.
The Titans.
Well, now wait a minute. You already knew that.
Yeah, but
that was so wrong of you. Kelly, what's wrong with him today?
I don't know, but I think another one of the duds has got to be the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, they got rid of your guy. You've been saying that for weeks. They got rid of him.
What were they waiting on? So think about this. The Raiders had been shut out in a 3-0 loss to Minnesota. So taking their frustrations out,
63.
63 points. Billy?
63.
7.
Really? 63 divided by 7, you think is 7.
Okay, 9. My bad.
9 times.
Really? You
I did.
Did they teach
63
math?
divided by 7 is 7? That's 49, dude. Are you serious? I went to Lincoln County, and I know that, dude. I didn't have to pay for my education like that.
Wow. A lot of bitterness there. So who was the last one?
Is
The
it an
last
NFL team or
dud.
is it an
NFL.
NFL or college team?
NFL.
Another dud. The New York Jets.
Okay, and look, I've thought about that one. However, we've seen this song like several times. So I went with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
He's going to end in a losing season, which is going to be the first time in his career. And now they're talking about Mike Tomlin. When I was listening to Herm Edwards on the radio, they were talking to ESPN yesterday. Like, are they really thinking about firing Mike Tomlin?
They think about firing him. He'll get hired like that.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, you go from all them years with Ben Roethlisberger, and you don't have to worry about the quarterback position. I'm just not sold on Kenny Pickett. I mean, he's been hurt. I'm not sold on him, but he's probably better than Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, you think about it. Trubisky was the second overall pick, whatever year it was he came out, and it just
Crazy.
simply has not worked. Billy, are we keeping you awake?
You are.
Wow. Well, I'm really sorry about that.
Is Billy trying to go? Is he trying to nap, George?
I think he's trying to get in the transfer portal.
Billy, put the camera on yourself. Let's go.
I'm about to mute you, Kelly.
What are you doing, man? I mean, are you being professional or unprofessional?
He just broke out in a big yawn. Like, I mean, is lack of sleep or is it boredom?
Probably both.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Really,
well,
Billy? You have been an ultimate punk today. You truly have.
You might not be back tomorrow. Okay, we'll go to the break. He will be in for the final segment, which is Plaster Bet of the Day, a commitment to excellence and making you a bunch of cash. Stay tuned.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Final segment on a Monday. It's time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Let's take a look at the weekend results before we get to the pick, or picks, I guess I should say. I think there's only one tonight, though.
Boise. God.
Boise State gagged it.
Yeah.
Titans
You booked
didn't
that
show
one.
up.
I think you booked that one, didn't you, George?
I think I did.
That was a bucket.
Yeah. I'm basically 0 for 2023 on bookets.
Yes, you are.
They've not been overly successful. I appreciate the Chiefs. I appreciate the Lions. The Lions did not sleep tonight.
So where are you going tonight?
Well, I'm going with what makes sense. I'm going with the tried and true EAGLES. It's 2 different sets of birds. Philly needs this game, so does Seattle. By the way, is Seattle starting Drew Lock?
Not sure.
I think so.
I think I heard. Did you hear that?
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going Philly. Period.
That's a good bet. I think Philly's going to get back on track. They got to. Is it? I think is it in Seattle?
It's in Seattle, and that's the hard part.
That is the
Philly,
hard part.
You know better than I do. That's one of the 2 or 3 toughest places in the league.
Absolutely, it's loud. I don't know if I used to think Kansas City. I still think I haven't played in the new Kansas City Stadium. I know the old one. They're right on top of you. It's really loud. But I remember being in Seattle and having to deal with that crowd noise, and it's loud up there, man. It is. Those people get into it. They'll be into it tonight, so it'll be a tough game. But I think Philly gets back on track.
I would assume that by the time you watch this, Philly will announce that Jalen Hurts is playing. If it's Mariota, it'll be more of a struggle. But I just think Philly, number one, needs this game desperately. This is their chance to get ahead of Dallas, and probably for good. And I just think they're better than Seattle. Period.
I still think even just looking at it, I still think though even if they lose, they're still 1 game up, or they still win the tiebreaker against Dallas. So
yeah,
it's a tiebreaker against Dallas. But if you do win this game, it puts a little bit of separation between the 2 teams. So they really need it for sure.
Okay, we're done, Billy. I would hope that tomorrow you would come with a better
attitude.
With a better attitude.
Billy, on the Plaster's Bet of the Day, I mean, we sat there for a long, awkward 15 seconds. Were you napping? What was the deal?
Kelly, I can mute you. You know that, right?
Well, it's fine. I don't care. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
He just wanted to know where the music was.
Hey, where'd it go?
We were talking to somebody in here, and you get distracted in here when George starts talking to somebody, and then he comes back.
No, you're not blaming this on.
Your focus is like a 4th grader, homie. Like get focused. Your focus is like you're in an elementary school.
We're not in a confined studio where there's no distractions. We got distractions every break.
Oh, these are excuses.
No, they're
I mean,
not.
sometimes I had to focus out there in front of 80,000 people. I had to focus, man. You know what I'm saying? I was in a confined space as well. Like focus, Billy. We're not in elementary school.
This is not a putting green. Quiet, please. See you tomorrow, Billy.
See ya.
Kelly,
see y'all.
See ya.
I still love you, Billy.